When an animal loves us, its affection is a testament to purity, steadfastness, and what seems like eternity. But what transpires after they pass away? Is it truly the end, or is there a greater reality that awaits us? The Bible offers insights on this matter, and what you're about to learn today has the potential to transform your perspective on life beyond death. Prepare for an extraordinary revelation that has remained undisclosed. As we embark on this journey, I kindly ask for your support. Engage with the content by sharing in the comments where you're tuning in from. This connection we share, transcending borders, binds us as one large, united Heaven's Gate family. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and prepare yourself for a discovery that may forever alter your view on the bonds with the beloved animals in your life. My name is Louise, 55 years young, residing in Holland, Michigan. 2 years ago, my world was shattered by the sudden death of my wife, Aurora, claimed by an aggressive cancer that left no room for preparation or hope. In mere months, the illness cruelly separated us, leaving my days cloaked in silence and despair. Life lost its color and vibrancy. I found myself aimlessly drifting before the television, only venturing out for groceries. Nothing held meaning anymore. Having already lost my mother to cancer, I struggled to cope, but Aurora's departure was a different kind of devastation. She was my soulmate, my ideal partner, an extraordinary wife who filled our home with warmth and magic, and whose culinary skills were nothing short of divine. Then, on a chilly afternoon, a shift began. As I returned from the grocery store, a faint whimper from a cardboard box near a dumpster caught my attention. Inside, a puppy lay abandoned, thin and trembling, its eyes dulled by hunger and the cold. Despite never being particularly fond of animals and having no desire for them in my home, I couldn't leave this little creature to perish. Hesitantly, I picked it up and wrapped it in my jacket. I intended to nurse it back to health and then take it to a shelter. Initially, the puppy was far from the companion I envisioned. It was lively, noisy, and chaotic, breaking things, running amok, and defying every training attempt. My grief, now compounded by frustration, I saw the puppy as just another burden. The house, once a haven of silence, now echoed with its barks, and I felt overwhelmed by its disobedience. Yet, amidst the chaos, I began to notice something peculiar. The puppy seemed intent on communicating something. There was a depth in its gaze, a purpose in its actions, as if it had been placed in my life for a reason I couldn't yet grasp. Weeks went by, and as the puppy grew stronger, a transformation within me began. Watching it recover and thrive stirred something I thought had died with Aurora. The pain that once held me captive started to ease, as if this little being was gently prying open my heart's tightly closed doors. I decided to name it Noah, after the biblical patriarch who weathered the storm to herald new beginnings. Perhaps, without realizing it, I was navigating my own storm, and Noah was my ark. Life started to feel meaningful again. I was rediscovering serenity and the joy in simplicity. But just as this newfound peace took hold, everything changed in an instant. On a perfect day, with the sun beaming and a gentle breeze accompanying us, Noah and I were out for a walk. As we approached a crosswalk, a car stopped to let us pass. With a cautious glance, I stepped forward with Noah leading the way. Then, without warning, the peace was shattered by the deafening roar of two engines. The stillness of the night was shattered as two cars roared from behind a stationary vehicle, racing with reckless abandon. They seemed to care little for the lives they endangered, the human and innocent lives in their path. Time appeared to stretch and slow. My breath caught. My heart lurched. The blinding headlights advanced in a frenzied rush. I called out to Noah, desperately trying to pull him back by his leash. It was too late. A deafening crash echoed as the impact struck Noah full on. The leash snapped with a violent jerk, pulling me along as my body was lifted off the ground. In what felt like an endless moment, I was suspended before crashing down with a brutal thud, my head striking the road's edge hard. Then, darkness enveloped me, deep and absolute. In this void, I floated devoid of pain or fear, only an emptiness enveloping me. Gradually, a warm light began to permeate the shadows, not from without but from within, like a gentle, burning fire. It was then I saw him, a majestic, radiant figure, cloaked in an aura of pure peace and love. Jesus, his eyes were compassionate, his presence a warmth I had never known. Louis, his voice said softly, reassuringly, as if cradling my soul. Do not fear. You are here for a reason greater than you can imagine. Instantly, all fear dissipated and an overwhelming peace washed over me, as if the burdens of my life, my pain, my loneliness had vanished. Jesus looked at me with profound understanding. There is something you must know concerning both you and Noah, he said, his words resonating deeply within me. I felt his gaze reach into me, touching parts of my soul I was unaware of. There is something I must know. I pondered, a seal of help. Jesus nodded. Noah was sent to you for this very reason. The day you found him in that box was no coincidence. A shiver coursed through me as I recalled finding Noah, huddled and trembling, reduced to skin and bones. He had suffered as much as I had, separated from his mother, mistreated, abandoned, nearly at death's door with no hope left. And then he found me, a soul as broken as his. Jesus gestured towards me gently. You and Noah are two wounded souls who found each other. His suffering was yours. His confusion was yours, but you chose one another. You saved each other. An indescribable emotion overwhelmed me. It was true. In those months, I hadn't just taken Noah in. He had taken me in as well. Have you ever considered, Louise, that Noah understood you? His words stirred something deep within me. How many times had I confided my pain to him? How many dark nights, when the absence of Aurora was almost unbearable, had I turned to meet his gaze? How many times had he rested his muzzle on my hands, silently saying, I am here? Jesus smiled. The bond you have formed with Noah is stronger than you imagine. It is not merely the affection between a man and his dog. It is a bond forged between two kindred souls recognizing and understanding one another. Tears streamed down my face. Lord, I never saw animals this way. I thought they were just creatures that a man grows fond of, nothing more. Jesus gently shook his head. Animals are much more than that, Louise. They're a gift from God, tools of love and healing. When a man loses his way, when his pain becomes unbearable, God often sends them. I closed my eyes, absorbing every word. Noah had been sent to me. He was chosen for me. It wasn't an accident. He wasn't just an abandoned dog I rescued. He was the one who saved me. But Lord, why do animals seem to understand human suffering better than humans themselves? Jesus looked at me with intense focus. Louis, listen carefully. Animals do not have a soul like humans. They are not held accountable in the same way, for they do not sin. They do not choose between good and evil. But they do have a spirit, a spark of life that comes from God, and nothing that comes from God is ever lost. Do you mean that I will see him again, that Noah will have a place in your kingdom? Jesus nodded. Is it not written? For the creation itself eagerly awaits the revealing of the children of God. For the creation was subjected to futility, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be set free from its bondage to decay. In the midst of contemplation, I delve into the profound promise found in Romans 8 verses 19 to 21, pondering its implications. Could it be that this glorious freedom bestowed upon the children of God would extend to the animal kingdom as well? As I wrestled with this thought, a sense of revelation washed over me. The notion that all of creation, including animals, might be restored and freed from suffering seemed both wondrous and deeply consoling. In the vision of his kingdom, every creature, it seemed, would find its rightful place, an assurance that nothing created in love would perish. Jesus, sensing my reflections, graced me with another vision. This time, I was transported to a pristine land, where the air was as clear as crystal and rivers flowed with unblemished purity. Across vast meadows, animals of every kind roamed freely, liberated from fear. The tableau was one of harmony, wolves and lambs at peace, lions coexisting with children, and horses galloping across golden fields. Among these scenes of utopia, I noticed Noah. He stood strong and vital, his spirit unshackled from pain, his eyes gleaming with joy. He was searching for me, eagerly awaiting my presence. Noah will be there, Louise, I heard, just like all those who have loved and served with a pure heart. Tears flowed down my cheeks as I grappled with the magnitude of this promise. Lord, I inquired, my voice trembling, does this mean that every beloved animal will return to us? Jesus nodded gently, elucidating that not all animals share the same profound connection with humans. Some are simply part of the earth's tapestry. However, those creatures who have journeyed with us, who have known love and been loved in return, they will indeed have a place by our side. For love is never wasted, he emphasized, and in that moment, the truth of our eternal bonds became crystal clear. The revelation was overwhelming, and I found myself sinking to my knees, the weight of what I had witnessed pressing upon me. As the ethereal light began to dim and I felt the pull back to my earthly form, Jesus spoke once more. When you return, tell others what you have seen. The world has overlooked the value of God's creatures. Remind mankind that every life is precious and that every bond of love is a sacred gift. The last image that lingered was Noah, still bearing the marks of his trials, but alive, resilient. Awakening from this vision, I was met with the harsh reality of Noah lying on the cold asphalt, his body still and breaths labored. Blood stained his coat, yet his eyes held a flicker of defiance, a will to endure. My heart ached at the sight. Lord, I cried, Noah has endured so much, abandonment, loneliness, and now this. Why such suffering? With infinite tenderness, Jesus responded, explaining that the suffering of animals mirrors the broader suffering of the fallen world. When sin entered creation, it marred the original perfection, introducing pain, death, and cruelty, things never intended by God. He showed me a vision of Eden, where harmony reigned supreme, animals and humans living in peace without fear or struggle. Animals were not created for suffering. Jesus said they were part of God's perfect design, and in his kingdom, they will reflect that perfection once more. I looked down at Noah, his body trembling, but his heart still valiantly beating. Will he recover? I asked. Jesus reassured me with a touch on my shoulder. Though Noah had suffered greatly, his time was not yet over. It would require months of care and patience, but Noah would indeed rise again, and our bond would be all the stronger for it. My throat tightened with emotion. And when his time comes, will I see him again? Do animals have a soul? Jesus fixed me with an intense gaze, clarifying that animals do not possess a soul in the human sense. They're not accountable for their actions, as they do not partake in sin or choose between good and evil. However, they do possess a spirit, a spark of life granted by God, and thus, nothing that originates from God is ever truly lost. You will see him again, Jesus affirmed. Noah will have a place in my kingdom. The scripture echoed in my mind, for the creation itself waits with eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed, reinforcing the hope that with the redemption of humanity, the rest of creation will also be gloriously transformed. Reflecting on the profound scriptural passage from Romans 8 verses 19 to 21, one contemplates the future redemption of creation, including the animal kingdom, from the chains of decay. The vision it inspires speaks to a restored world where love's creations are preserved and suffering is a relic of the past. In a divine revelation, Jesus unveils a utopian landscape, a realm where purity reigns, rivers flow unblemished, and creatures of all kinds frolic freely, unbound by fear. Here, the once disparate species coexist in harmony: wolves and lambs, lions and children, horses and golden fields. a tableau of peace. In this vision, Noah emerges, vibrant and free from earthly pain, his essence radiating joy. He searches, he waits, his connection to Louise transcending the physical realm. Noah will be there, Jesus assures, echoing the eternal nature of pure-hearted love. Tears of emotion cascade as the truth unfolds. The beloved animals who've shared our journey, who've known our love, will not be lost to us in this divine kingdom. Yet, the revelation comes with a weight, a recognition that not all creatures share this deep bond with humanity. Some are of the earth, bound to it in a simpler way. But those who've walked our path, who've loved and been loved, these will find their place by our side. For in God's eyes, love is an investment that yields eternal returns. Overwhelmed by this divine insight, the return to the physical world is laden with emotion. As the light dims and reality beckons, Jesus imparts a final directive to share this vision, to remind the world of the sacred value of all God's creatures, that every life holds preciousness and every loving bond is a divine gift. The vision fades, Noah remains, a testament to resilience. Yet the journey back is fraught with turmoil. In the aftermath of an accident, pain, fear, and a flickering hope become constant companions. Weeks in a hospital blur by, but the mind is far from the sterile walls, haunted by a single, echoing question: will Noah survive? Veterinarians offer little optimism, his condition gravely critical. Yet Noah persists, motionless yet present, teetering on the precipice. Nights are filled with fervent prayers, pleading with the divine architect who had intertwined their fates. Then, after days that stretch into weeks, a miracle stirs, a slight movement, a breath deeper, and Noah's eyes open, meeting Louise's with a dim yet unmistakable presence. The doctors speak of a long, arduous recovery, but it is already a miracle. You did it, Noah, a proclamation of shared struggle and healing. Months pass, and Noah's return to life is marked by scars of that harrowing night. But his spirit, unyielding, stronger, brighter, signals a resilience that defies the physical toll. Their paths intertwined, their battles shared. Healing becomes a journey they embark upon together. Yet, time is relentless. A few months pass, the ultimate trial approaches. The aging of Noah, his pace slowing, eyes weary yet ever present, vigilant as ever. One morning in the quiet of the yard during therapy, Noah pauses, looks up, and with a monumental effort, wags his tail, taking a few steps. Kneeling before him, tears flow, a farewell etched in love, gratitude, and the peace that surpasses understanding. In this narrative, we are reminded of the power of love that transcends life's boundaries, a love that promises redemption and continuity even in the face of decay and departure. It is a story that speaks to the heart, binding the reader in an emotional journey of faith, hope, and the eternal bonds we share. He knew his time had arrived. "I love you, Noah," he whispered, gratitude flooding his heart for everything the faithful companion had been through with him. With what seemed like his last ounce of strength, he managed a slight movement of his tail, a silent gesture of love and readiness to depart. Slowly, his eyes closed, and his body, once tense with the struggle of life, relaxed in his arms. It was then that he realized Noah had slipped away. He couldn't recall how long he knelt there, his face pressed into Noah's fur, tears streaming uncontrollably. Grief hit him like a tidal wave, robbing him of breath and strength. Could it be that it was truly over? Noah had come into his life, a gift from God at a time when he had lost everything. The dog had been more than a helper. He had been a companion, a beacon of light. Noah had pulled him back from the brink when he no longer wanted to live, and now the void of his absence was profound. In his arms, he held Noah one last time, the words of thanks repeating in his mind. "Thank you, Noah, for loving me more than I deserved." The pain was excruciating, yet he clung to Jesus' words, "In my kingdom, nothing that you have loved will be lost." Closing his eyes, he let these words enfold him, and amidst the despair, A profound peace settled within. Noah wasn't truly gone. He never would be. Each morning, the empty space beside his bed where Noah used to lie remained a poignant reminder. Yet his spirit was omnipresent. In the cherished memories, in the moments when his presence still felt tangible, in the assurance that one day, when God deemed it his time, he would reunite with Noah. They would run together, unbound by fear or pain, for eternity. After witnessing the truth with his own eyes, he knew he could no longer stay silent. This message wasn't solely for him. It was for anyone who had endured suffering, for those who had loved and lost, for all who had found solace, hope, and pure love in the gaze of an animal. Jesus had revealed to him that animals are more than just transient companions. They're not byproducts or mere accessories in our lives. They're divine gifts, conduits through which God communicates, supports, and guides us through our darkest hours. Noah was not just a dog. He was a divine sign, and the reality is that while God sends such signs to many, few recognize them. Few understand that the loyal eyes looking up at us daily are not just earthly beings, but living testaments of divine love. How often do we overlook the value of a simple, affectionate gesture, the silent, steadfast presence, not realizing that the very sign we seek is right beside us? When he found Noah, he believed he had rescued him, but in truth, it was Noah who had saved him. God knew they needed each other. Both had been wounded by the world, and their intertwined sufferings became a mutual source of resilience. It was not by chance, but by divine design. Animals are not objects to be discarded at will. They are precious beings entrusted to us to be loved, respected, and protected. The Bible clearly states that God cares for them, concerned for every creature, no matter how small, because every life holds value. If the Lord watches over them, how can we justify mistreating, ignoring, or abandoning them? Every instance of an animal suffering due to human cruelty is a desecration of creation itself. Yet, every act of welcoming, caring, and loving them is an answer to a divine call. If there's an animal in your life that loves you unconditionally, that eagerly awaits your return home, that follows your every step, do not dismiss it as merely a pet. It is a sign, a message from God that you are never alone. And if you don't have an animal companion, if you feel an inner void, do not lose hope. Perhaps the sign you seek has yet to arrive. There may be a creature out there that needs you just as much as you need it. His experience had taught him that when one endures the deepest pain and maintains strong faith, a sign of help, a token of hope, is sent from heaven. A pure soul chosen by God to support you in darkness and accompany you on your faith journey. He didn't realize Noah was his token until he reflected on the path God had laid out for them. Perhaps there has been a Noah in your life too, or maybe one is with you now or yet to come. Do not ignore the signs. Do not underestimate the silent love, the constant companionship, the comforting presence that speaks volumes without words. Jesus showed him that in his kingdom, nothing that has been loved will ever be lost. The time spent with them is never in vain, and the bond we share transcends death. Noah may have left him physically, but he knew they would meet again. He knew that one day, when God calls him, Noah would be there waiting, and together they would run freely, without fear, without pain, unbound by time. The message he wished to leave in this life is clear. Animals are a gift from God, entrusted to us to aid us, to love us, and to teach us the purest meanings of loyalty and compassion. We must not overlook this gift, nor squander the chance to be for them what they are for us, a reflection of God's love on earth. If you've read this far, it speaks to the size of your heart. Please let him know in the comments by writing him in or mentioning the country you're from if you love animals and believe in the words of the Lord. Share this message with your friends and family, for we all need to understand the true reason animals are part of our lives, and this reflection is offered sincerely and truthfully in line with the Bible. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video. Thank you from the depths of his heart. May God bless you, and he hopes to see you again on his channel, Heaven's Gate.